What's up, guys? Welcome to the 28th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast. Today's gonna work a little different. First, you might hear me crunching because I'm eating food. But we're actually gonna do today a little backwards. We're gonna start with Formula One and do NASCAR last. So let's jump right into that. So the weekends for Formula One, in FP1, it was a rainy session. Hulkenberg got into the gravel twice. Max Verstappen actually spun. And Pierre Gasly went through the gravel. Both Checo and Carlos Sainz missed turn 1. The track dries and the cars go on to slicks. But the session ended with Lando P1, Max P2, and Lewis P3. In FP2 was a dry session. George locks up and goes into the gravel. Same with Checo. George ran over a cone coming out of the pit box and was hoping that it was not somebody's foot. You had the session red flagged for Nico Hulkenberg into the wall. Alex and Lance almost make contact in the pit lane. Same with Zhou Guanyu and Daniel Ricciardo. But the session ended with George P1, Oscar P2, and Lewis P3. In free practice 3, it was raining once again. Hulkenberg into the barriers but keeps going with wing damage. Alonso through the gravel. This is when Logan Sargent had a big crash where the car caught on fire. It was red flagged the session until 3 minutes to go. You had Max dodging drivers and pit exit, trying to get around them. And it was almost like a race at the end of that session, with everyone trying to get in a single lap. But it ended with Pierre Gasly P1, K-Mag P2, and Valtteri Bottas P3, because everybody was just trying to throw down laps at the very end of the session. For qualifying, it was a dry session. Out in Q1, Logan Sargent both kicked Saubers, Esteban Ocon, and Daniel Ricciardo. Out in Q2 was both Haas, Hamilton. They were suspecting rain in Q2, but out in Q3 were both Haas, Hamilton, Yuki, and Carlos. In Q3, it was Lando with pole, Max P2, and Oscar P3. Lewis Hamilton got a penalty for impeding on Checo Perez. Race was actually pretty tame other than the battles that were happening on track between drivers. But it was Lando Norris to win the Dutch Grand Prix by 20 seconds, or 20 plus seconds. And there was only a 70-point gap in the Drivers' Championship now between him and Max Verstappen. Max ended P2 and Charles P3. As for INDYCAR, in practice 1, there was a 4th Rahal Letterman Lanigan entry with Yuri Vips. You had Joseph Newgarden through the grass. Kyle Kirkwood gets airtime, missing turn 1. Alexander Rossi spins in turn 1. You have Nolan Siegel through the grass. Contact with Rahal and Grosjean. Will Power into the grass. It was Scott McLaughlin fastest, Alex Palou P2, and Marcus Armstrong P3. In practice 2, Will Power spins into an access road. Roman Grosjean gets airtime, going over the same curbs as Kyle Kirkwood in the previous session. It was red flagged. The session was red flagged due to willpower spin. And then it was red flagged again for Stingray Rob into the wall. It kind of looked like Scotty Mac forced willpower off the track. So I'm sure those teammates were not happy with each other. Felix Rosenquist contact with inside turn 1 wall and gets airtime over the curbs. Yuri Vips spins. Joseph Newgarden in the grass again. Petro Fittipaldi and Scott Dixon miss turn 1 and have to go through the access road. But it ends Scotty Mac P1, David Malukas P2, and Joseph Newgarden P3. For qualifying, the drivers to make the Fast 12 were Christian Lundgaard, Kyle Kirkwood, Santino Ferrucci, Colton Herta, Graham Rahal, Scott Dixon, Alex Palou, Will Power, Marcus Armstrong, Marcus Ericsson, Roman Grosjean, and Joseph Newgarden. Into the Fast 6 was Will Power, Kyle Kirkwood, Alex Palou, Christian Lundgaard, Santino Ferrucci, Graham Rahal. Palou went into the barriers, but backs out and keeps going, but he still made it to the Fast 6. Fighting for pole, it was ultimately Santino Ferrucci to get pole. In the final practice session, Scotty Mac takes an unapproved engine change. Renus VK into the grass. Salry had a spin. And it ended with Colton Herta fastest, Alex Palou P2, and again Marcus Armstrong in P3. For the race on lap 1, Scott Dixon had a big crash due to Petro Fittipaldi, who hits him and shoves him off the track into the barriers. Fittipaldi had a penalty from that. Lap 23 contact between Daly and Fittipaldi. Again, penalty for Fittipaldi. Lap 62, Roman Grosjean spins, gets the car restarted, joins the track dangerously, and gets T-boned by Christian Rasmussen. And spins again. But ultimately, it was willpower to win at Portland. Alex Palou P2 and Joseph Newgarden P3. Okay. So, I'm going to go through our Twitter stuff. And then we'll get onto the weekend. Onto NASCAR.
My favorite week. Only Saturday.
So, NASCAR has done a deal for an official meat snack, which will be Jack Links. Colleague Racing make an announcement for their 2025 Xfinity driver to be Daniel Dye.
Daniel.
According to a lawsuit, it appears Hooters agreed to pay Hendrick Motorsports $1.75 million for the 2024 championship or sponsorship. 2024 sponsorship. So that is what they're being sued for. Denny Hamlin on the 11 team got a level or L2 level penalty violating NASCAR's engine inspection requirements, which it's actually Toyota that told on themselves. The engine only gets two uses before being sent back?
It's 2 uses.
So after Daytona, I watched Denny's podcast, and he talks about it. He said it was after, I think it was maybe the first Darlington race or something like that. It's supposed to have blue caps, so then it's supposed to stay at the shop, or supposed to something get sent there, so then they know not to they can mess with it, they can check it, but with the red caps on it, they don't need to mess with it or something like that. And it got sent, the engine got with the red cap sent to TRD, and they took the red caps off, and that was like a no-no.
I will say I may not like Denny Hamlin, but that kind of sucked for him considering that it wasn't even like Joe Gibbs Racing or any of their faults, and he got that penalty because they did that. I may not like him, but that actually kind of sucked for him that he got the penalty and it wasn't even like their fault that that they did that.
This engine, like with the red caps, got sent to TRD, which it wasn't even supposed to. It was supposed to be sent. I think it was supposed to be sent to NASCAR to be checked because it was like with its time limit because it got raced twice, and it was supposed to just sent because they put the red caps on and just sent to NASCAR. I think that's what he said, and it just got sent to TRD, and yeah, somebody at TRD didn't know, and they just took the red caps off and put it on the head, like somebody's, like, I guess this is what Denny, I don't know what Denny was saying, like somebody put it on his like their desk, and I was like, what's this? This is not supposed to be here. This is supposed to be like on the engine. That's not, and the engine's not really supposed to be here or something like that. So like somebody at TRD really messed up.
Yikers.
I bet they got fired.
They should get fired for that. If they didn't, they should probably fire them.
I think he said it was like supposed to be sealed too. Like the red caps are supposed to be sealed on there because you have blue caps, like get sealed on there, and then after the use, they put red caps on there. That they get, and it takes to like NASCAR or something like that. And like NASCAR will take them off. I think that's what he said. But that engine got sent to TRD, and then they took them off, and that was.
So, with that penalty, it is a loss of 75 driver and owner points and 10 playoff points. Crew chief Chris Gapehart has been fined $100,000, and it wasn't even his fault.
Like I said, it actually kind of sucks because it wasn't their fault. But I mean, he's still locked in the playoffs because he still has 2 race wins.
And Denny, it also really sucks for Denny because he was in content for the regular season championship, and now all that points.
The regular season championship is a disaster. Like it's all over the place now.
It's really between Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott. It's between really them.
Yeah, but it messed a lot of them up from Daytona, so they're all within 1 point of each other now of who's going to be the regular season championship.
I just looked at it. Larson's 17 points away, and Chase is 18 points away. Tyler Reddick is in the lead, and then it goes Larson with 17 out, and Chase is 18. And then I think next is Blaney, and I think he's like way behind. He's like 68. I think that's what I saw.
It's all wonky now.
But yeah, it really messed Denny for the regular season because now he's like 8th. I think that's what he said. He's like either 6th or 8th.
He's kind of far down there. But so it has been confirmed that Jack Doohan is going to be Pierre Gasly's teammate at Alpine next season in 2025. So Trackhouse Racing and Zane Smith have mutually agreed to part ways after the conclusion of the 2024 season. So Zane is now open to finding new contracts. Toto Wolff apparently leaked that Kimi Antonelli is going to be driving for Mercedes next season. You had Sheldon Creed and Chandler Smith very upset with each other over this past weekend. Brad Keselowski of RFK was asked about a third Cup car on their team, and he said he wouldn't rule it out, but if they add another car, it could run unchartered. The grid penalties for the past weekend in INDYCAR for unapproved engine changes also included Graham Rahal, Kyle Kirkwood, and David Malukas. Trackhouse announced that SVG is going to be full-time Cup racing in the number 88 for Trackhouse Racing, which I'm kind of confused why they decided to go with the 88 and not just continue using 97. But okay, I guess.
And they got Dale's permission to use it. Like, they got all the Earnhardt's permission to use the 88.
I think I saw where they said they didn't buy it out. They didn't buy it from Junior.
They didn't buy it. They're just
Mhm.
they at Trackhouse, they asked Dale and all the rest of the Earnhardts if they could use the 88 number, and they all mutually agreed that he could, like, hey, it'd be cool if we saw the 88 run again. So, I mean, Trackhouse had their blessing to use the 88 number. And they said that they went back and forth between multiple different numbers before they finally settled on the 88.
I think the 97 would have matched their brand with the 99, 91, 97. I feel like it just would have fit. But also the 88 was actually a Hendrick number. So Rick Hendrick would have also been included in this conversation about using the 88.
Yeah, he was. I
But
think that's what everybody's confused about, because everybody's confused. They're like, why didn't they just keep the 97? Like, why did they go with the 88? Because, I mean, that's what everybody has said. Like, the 97 matches their vibe better than the 88 does. So it's just, it's odd that they want the number 88 instead of just staying with 97.
I'll go ahead and mention this part. So Lane Riggs won the truck race, and he dislocated his shoulder while celebrating. Which was also his first truck series win, as far as I'm aware. Upper Deck has done a deal with 2311 that will include trading cards of Reddick and Wallace.
It was.
NASCAR announces a race in Mexico City at oh gosh, I know the name of this track. It's Hermanos something. Autodromo Hermanos. Oh my gosh. I know this because Formula 1 races there, but anyway, they are racing in Mexico City in 2025. And then, man, they're just getting like so many new tracks to come like for the next season. Like they're going to Bowman Gray, they're going to Mexico City. That's wild.
I just want to know how messed up the schedule's gonna be. Hopefully not messed up. Like it was this year, but I have a feeling it's gonna be messed up. It's fine, I guess.
Austin Dillon, the appeal was denied by the final appeal officer. Go ahead. Start. I know you're gonna say something.
Did they think they were gonna win at the higher up? Hello? He intentionally wrecked 2 people to get into the playoffs, and now guess what? He has to race himself back into the playoffs because he completely lost his playoff spot. Did he really think going to the higher up people, they were gonna be like, oh yeah, it's fine, we'll let you through? I'm sorry, that's all I have to say. Did they really think that the higher up people were gonna say something? Like, tell them like, oh yeah, we'll appeal it. That's that's like, I'm done. I'm done.
NASCAR appears to be building a 24/7 TV channel called NASCAR Channel in parentheses Fast. and is currently hiring. There are quite a few notable entries this weekend in Darlington, and there are 38 entries, so every entry will be getting into the race. But we have in the 07 Greg Van Alst, the 14 Chad Fincham, 15 Joey Logano, 17 Chase Elliott. Who originally drives the 17?
What?
Who originally drives the 17?
No one?
Oh, that's the Hendrick car. That's the Hendrick car. Just kidding.
It's the Hendrick car.
19, Joe Graff Jr., 20, Christopher Bell, 26, Corey Heim, 30, Noah Gragson. That is still to be determined for the 35. 45 will be Garrett Smithley, 88 will be Carson Quapple, and 92 will be Ross Chastain.
There's a lot of them.
The words on the final appeal officer, Bill Mullis, said, in reaching the above decision, the FAO provided the following explanation. The data presented today for SMT and IDAS systems indicate that more likely than not, a rule violation did occur at Richmond Raceway. The number 3 car on the last lap of the race, or by them, rule whatever. Race finishes must be unencumbered by violations of the NASCAR rules or other actions detrimental to stock car auto racing or NASCAR as determined in the solemn discretion of NASCAR. So basically, if you wreck somebody to win, if you go against the rule book, the code of conduct, you're not getting it back.
You'll end up like Austin Dillon and get your playoff spot taken away from you.
Exactly.
Don't wreck people intentionally to get into the playoffs.
So now we got to do a rundown of the races this weekend, or this past weekend. Trucks was in Milwaukee.
Not gonna lie, the trucks race was really boring. Nothing happened. I'm glad Lane got his first win, but it was so boring. No wrecks happened. Nothing
There
really
was
happened.
one caution for cause, and that was it.
It was a tire going down, right? Somebody hit. Anyway, let's go through it.
Yeah.
So prior to the green flag, Raja Karuth and Justin Carroll starting at the rear due to adjustments, but it was Ty Majeski who got pole. Tanner Gray on the outside in second. The first caution, which is for cause, is Jason Alexander gets sideways, hits the wall, and stops in turn 3 while running 36th. And so that makes... Is this stage?
It was like confusing. Like they had enough. Like there was like 7 laps to go for the car, like to the end of the stage, but it was like because there was trucks on pit road or something like that. They just ended the stage.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember the truck race whatsoever because I just literally don't remember it. I wasn't even sleeping. I just don't remember it.
Which is ironic because it happened yesterday. It happened after the cup race.
You know what? The cup race was too good to me.
Fair. Okay. Anyway, it was Ty Dillon to win stage 1. They actually Dexter Bean stalls on the front stretch under caution, but gets restarted and continues. It's Christian Eckes leading for the restart, and it goes all the way to the end of stage 2 where Christian Eckes wins those points. Christian Eckes again restarts first on the inside, Lane Riggs second on the outside. They battle back and forth, but ultimately it is Lane Riggs that wins by 1.5 seconds over Ty Majeski for his first career victory. And like I said, in that celebration, he was up on top of the truck. I'm going to keep talking while I do this, but he is jumping up on top of the truck, literally punching the air, and he pulls his arm out of socket. He pulls his shoulder out of socket.
He celebrated too hard.
Yes, celebrating too hard. But
And then his team literally had to help him get off the truck, and they had to pop it back into place.
Yes, so they popped his arm back into place, and they're looking at him like, "Okay, you good?" And then Lane Riggs just goes, "I'm good." And then they just all
and they go,
yes, they all just start jumping up and down, screaming for him.
It was so funny.
But yeah, things were a little out of whack. You had the schedule for the weekend all types of messed up. You had Xfinity on Friday, Cup Saturday, and then Trucks and ARCA on Sunday. So it was all types of messed up. But let's get the Xfinity recap.
The end of the first of the trucks, in the first stage for the trucks, it made me confused. Like,
yeah, the way that stage ended.
Yeah.
So, for the Xfinity race, it, Austin Hill to the rear for unapproved steering adjustments. The field, and he also had a radio issue. Sam Mayer to the rear for an engine change. The second round of qualifying was canceled due to lightning. And Sam Mayer, due to that engine problem, was unable to complete a qualifying lap. Justin Allgaier, Anthony Alfredo, Kyle Sieg, Joey Gaze, Ogata, Jeb Burton, Riley Herbst, Blaine Perkins, and Matt DiBenedetto all failed inspection twice and lost a crew member for the weekend.
Didn't know that.
Chandler Smith got pole. It was Joe Graff Jr. on the outside due to Austin Hill going to the rear. So it was Jeffrey Earnhardt bumps Jeremy Clemens and gets loose entering turn 3. Austin Hill, Gus Dean, Ryan Ellis, and Ogata are collected, bringing out the caution. And this was lap 2. So they get going again. Chandler Smith leading. Austin Hill clears the DVP, but is too slow to hold the draft, so he ends up going to the garage. It was Justin Allgaier to win stage 1. Cole Custer makes contact with his teammate, right? Was this
on pit road?
Yes. Okay. I was trying to remember if this was the race or not, because like I said, the Xfinity race happened on Friday, so like I'm just trying to remember if I remember everything correctly. But yes, Cole Custer made contact with his teammate on pit road. Sam Mayer leads them to the green. Sheldon Creed on the outside. Anthony Alfredo hits the wall exiting turn 4 after contact with Jesse Love. Sam Mayer spins, trying to avoid the contact, bringing out the caution, and it is Justin Allgaier to win stage 2. Ryan Truex is leading on this restart. Riley Herbst on the outside. Jesse Love attempts to bump draft Brandon Jones, who spins down the backstretch, bringing out a caution. They get back going. Ryan Truex still leading. AJ Allmendinger on the outside. Parker Retzloff, Jeb Burton, Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, Josh Williams, Matt Benedetto, Cole Custer, Sammy Smith, Cesar Barcerella, Kyle Sieg, all included in a big crash entering turn 1, bringing out the 10th caution that started around 10th place. So they get that all cleaned up. It's AJ Allmendinger leading on the restart, Parker Kligerman on his inside. Anthony Alfredo gets loose and stacks up the field, creating a multi-car crash involving Anthony, Cesar Barcerella, Jeremy Clements, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Josh Bilicki, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Patrick Emmerling. They red flagged the race for cleanup. The red flag lasted 12 minutes and 11 seconds. It is Ryan Truex leading on the restart with AJ Allmendinger on the outside. AJ Allmendinger makes... Oh, that actually goes in overtime, by the way. But AJ Allmendinger makes contact with Parker Kligerman. Actually, whoa, they said this incorrectly. Parker basically accidentally spins AJ Allmendinger. And AJ Allmendinger makes hard contact with the wall, and the caution comes out. And it is Ryan Truex to win the Xfinity race in Daytona.
I sat through all of that just to watch Ryan Truex win. We all know the 20 car is dominant. Anytime whoever gets in the 20 car wins, unless they get wrecked out.
It was a rough one. So on to the Cup race, because I know Lakota wants to talk about this. Todd Gilliland failed inspection 3 times. He kept his starting position, but lost his car chief and pit stall selection. It was Michael McDowell to get pole, with Todd Gilliland on the outside. There is no caution up until the stage break, when Josh Berry wins stage 1. Let's see.
I have to say, Front Row Motorsports literally made it front row.
Yeah. Under this caution, Daniel Suarez had a fire on pit road on the rear of his car. And he thought it wasn't that bad until he pulled into his pit stall, and he's just like gingerly just like doing his own thing. And then he's like, apparently he started to actually smell the flames behind him. And then so finally he like yanks himself out of the car.
I mean, it really wasn't his own fault for that fire. It, like, because the gas, like when you pull the gas can out, like more gas drips out of it. When Danny his like engine like ignited like from the the pipes, and it lit up the gas thing, and it just went into Daniel's gas tank.
Yes. So, to explain what Molly just said, Daniel Suarez was going to pull out of his pit box, but had to stop due to the car in front of him, which caused Denny Hamlin to have to stop. And whenever the next gen cars, whenever you either lift or get on the brakes, it sends out flames from the exhaust pipes. And that's what happened. Those flames lit up the excess gas that came out of Daniel Suarez's car and just like went straight into Daniel's car. Into that gas tank compartment. But they get going. Joey Logano leading, Chris Buescher on the inside. On lap 61, Ross Chastain gets turned in the front of the field in 8th. Martin Truex Jr., Noah Gragson, Alex Bowman, Ty Gibbs, Austin Hill, Corey LaJoie, Denny Hamlin, John Hunter Nemechek, Eric Jones, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Daniel Hemrick, Ryan Preece, Ryan Blaney, Austin Dillon, and Tyler Reddick were all collected in this.
In case you guys don't know, That's part of a big one that happened.
Yeah. I don't even
That,
think
that was the one that that was the one that Corey LaJoy pushed Noah.
That is true. That's the one that Corey LaJoy caused. Because he pushed Noah. Yeah. Good old Corey LaJoy, cousin Rex, because he don't care, because he ain't gonna be there next year.
So, they get going again. It's Chris Buescher leading with his teammate Brad Keselowski on the inside, which I'm kind of confused why they didn't work together instead of going side by side, but whatever, I guess. Austin Cindric makes contact with Kyle Larson for second and nearly spins on the backstretch, but saves it, but falls back to 23rd. Eric Jones ends up blowing a tire, so they were like, oh, okay, I mean, he's fine, so we're not going to throw the caution. Until you see the blown engine and ridiculous amount of smoke coming from Shane Van Gisbergen. So, because it was blocking drivers' vision, you had to throw a caution. And that fire had to be put out on pit road. And Martin Truex Jr. also blew a tire at this moment. Joey Logano leads on the restart with Kyle Larson inside, and it is Joey Logano to win stage 2. Michael McDowell is leading on this next restart with Josh Berry inside. Justin Haley gets the lead at one of these times, which is kind of surprising. And then at one point, John Hunter gets the lead. But he ends up spinning, trying to take the lead of the low line, making contact with Justin Haley, bringing out the caution. It is Austin Cindric leading the next restart, choosing the outside, Brad Keselowski inside. Brad Keselowski got a restart violation for jumping the restart. So at this moment, they are 3 wide. Michael McDowell gets turned in the front of the field in turn 1, nearly flips over. Bubba Wallace
Joey essentially saved Michael's from flipping because he flipped onto Joey Logano's car and then came back on the ground.
But also that impact that Michael made with Joey was so hard, it knocked Joey's glasses off of him.
Yeah, it made his glasses move for sure.
But Bubba Wallace, Justin Haley, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Ricky Stenhouse, Austin Cindric, Chris Buescher, and Austin Hill were all collected in this. But Austin Cindric actually gets through that, and he ends up leading the next restart with Josh Berry on his outside. But the race has to be red flagged after this point because Josh Berry gets turned and flips and stops upside down, bringing out the red flag. Josh Berry, Eric Jones, Austin Cindric, William Byron, Austin Dillon, Austin Hill, Todd Gilliland, Zane Smith, Cody Ware, Carson Hocevar were all in this one. And the red flag was 6 minutes and 52 seconds. So that is how long it took them to flip the car back over and get Josh Berry out of the car. And he seemed fine. He did the universal thumbs up.
He gave the thumbs up. But it took him a while to get his car flipped over because they had to wait for him to stop spinning because he spun 15 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was
in place but the car was still rounded.
He was interviewed after and he said it wasn't as bad as it looked.
How does he feel today? That's the real question. He's probably very sore today because he literally slammed into the wall upside down.
Yeah. See, well, the way that I look at it is I think it would be worse to flip 15 times instead of just slide upside down.
And then just spin. Yeah.
But it got sent into overtime because of this accident. And it was Kyle Busch on the inside leading the restart, Harrison Burton on the outside. And Harrison gets pushed to the front by Parker Retzlaff. Pushes him to the front. Harrison holds off Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch almost nearly wrecks him, but Harrison keeps it and wins at Daytona, getting the 100th win for the Wood brothers. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Dude, I literally cried all weekend long. When I tell you, I dropped to my knees and was screaming at the TV. I was so excited. I already bought all of his win stuff. So that's on the way at some point, whenever it decides it gets made. It's been emotional. I've been a wreck. I'm so happy. Man. It's been a rough 3 years for him.
So that brings in the discussion of the playoff system. Everybody is very upset that Harrison, who was 34th in points, only 2 places below Austin Dillon, everybody was upset that Harrison got into the playoffs. So the difference between Harrison and Austin Dillon is that Austin Dillon didn't attempt vehicular manslaughter when trying to win. Okay? Harrison held off Kyle Busch to win that race. He didn't wreck anybody. He didn't force anybody into the wall. He threw a block.
And he got forced to win. Everybody's also mad because they're like, he shouldn't have won because he went below the double yellow line. And everybody's like, yeah, because Kyle Busch forced him under the yellow line.
So, here it is.
The also thing is, Harrison...
Okay, the rule is you cannot go below the yellow line to advance your position. But Harrison was already in the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And he did not fall behind and still stayed ahead. So he was not gaining a position.
Mm-mm.
So, cry about it.
Literally, anybody who says anything bad about Harrison can kindly go, I don't even know. He literally worked so hard to get that. And also the fact that Parker Retzlaff gave him the push of his life. Granted, Parker Retzlaff was trying to win that race, but he gave Harrison the push of his life. And even in Kyle Busch's interview, he said, I could have wrecked him, but I didn't, because I know better than that. So therefore, I thank Parker for giving Harrison the push of his life. And I thank Kyle Busch for not wrecking him out.
Also, Harrison is still 34th in the drivers standings. He's still 34th, but in the playoff standings, the worst he can finish is 16th in the playoff standings.
You know what? Don't say anything about Harrison. I'll fight for the death for him. I've been on this road with him for actually quite a long time since I liked him in Xfinity in 2020. But since he's been in Cup, yeah, I've been with him for the 3 years he's been in Cup, and let me tell you, it's been a roller coaster of emotions. So everybody can go screw themselves and not say anything bad about him because he worked hard at that one. How I feel about that. Leave Harrison alone, or I'll fight you.
I mean, really, that's how it goes. They wanted to change the rules to where straight up, if you win, you're in. No matter where you are in the point standings. That's how it is. That's the rules. So, and then anybody trying to compare it to the Austin Dillon situation, again,
It's not the Austin Dillon situation.
Harrison didn't wreck anybody to win.
No.
Of course, like, sure, Harrison only led one lap of this race, but he led the only important lap of this race.
That is actually true. And
So,
on top of that, Harrison is one of the few cars that never was involved in any of the accidents. He came out of every single accident untouched. Harrison was never in any accidents. And he led the only important lap that actually matters, and that's winning the race. So,
if there are so many people that are upset about this, but if you look at it the other way, take the playoffs out of it. Harrison Burton, one of the nicest drivers you will ever meet, getting his first cup win when he probably doesn't even know if he's going to have a seat next season. And getting the Wood brothers their 100th win. Their last win was with Ryan Blaney. Like,
and both of them had to fight. And both of them had to fight off Kyle Busch to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take the playoffs out of it. Okay? Of course, the system's kind of messed up. Okay? Like, we know that. Everyone's screaming it from the rooftops. Okay? We get it. But there is so many drivers, even Bubba. You had Bubba Wallace. I'm pretty sure you had Ross Chastain come over. Like, so many drivers come to victory lane to congratulate Harrison. Because
Ty even congratulated him.
Because everybody knows how hard he's been working for this. And this is a huge win for the Wood brothers. This is quite literally history.
They have been stuck on 99 wins forever, and the fact that Harrison got them their 100th win on his way out of Wood Brothers, because like he said, he got fired from the job.
He did say that in his post interview.
Like, Harrison is the nicest person ever. Love that dude. Met him so many times. Love him. He's super nice.
I mean, Blaney got his first career win at Wood Brothers, and now look where he's at.
Cup Series champion.
I just hate people.
I bet Harrison winning Daytona opened a lot of eyes for all these open teams.
What if, guys, what if we're just crazy and he's the one that's going to front row?
Front row wants a young team.
Mm-hmm.
What if we never thought about that? We have actually never sat here and had that conversation of where actually Harrison could go. We were constantly like, oh, what if he goes back to Xfinity? Bro, what if he just goes to another Ford team?
All I know is I need him to go somewhere because I'm going insane and I'm just an emotional wreck because it still feels like a dream that he actually won. I knew he could win, but it's also the fact that he won Daytona and came out of it basically untouched from all of the wrecks that happened. And he had to fight off one of the best NASCAR drivers, Kyle Busch, to win that race. And honestly, Kyle needs a win to be in the playoffs. And he didn't wreck Harrison. He just let Harrison win.
Yep. He let him have it.
So
he 100% could have wrecked him, could have bumped him out of the way to get that win to get into the playoffs.
And he even said that in his interview. He's like, I could have wrecked him, but what would it have done?
All right. So, even though Lakota is going to be reliving this weekend for probably the rest of her life, we got to move on to
It
next
was
weekend.
Lakota pick that was right.
Yes, Lakota did get her finally. Okay, so she finally said his full name. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's all she had to do.
So here's the funny thing. Molly and I were talking about it. The other night, okay, here's actually how my picks went. The other night, before we picked, Molly and I were literally talking about Harrison the entire time, like over FaceTime. And then Molly's basically the one that did my picks for me. Not even gonna lie. She's like, what if you just put Harrison? And I was like, that's true. So when I put Harrison's name down, he wins Daytona. So I don't know. I don't know if we unjinxed me on the podcast because you said you jinxed him now.
I straight up said it this time. Yeah, I don't know if I ever called it out like that before. I don't know if I because we would always joke in saying that you were never gonna say his actual name because he would always do bad like whenever you mention him.
But to be fair, anytime that I wrote his name on my list, I just put HB. Instead, I put Harrison Burton. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that this was probably the biggest pick I could have picked of my entire life, and I'm gonna relive like August 24th, 24 for the rest of my life. That's not a lie.
Alrighty. So let's move on to this weekend. It is Darlington. I'm going Justin Allgaier and Chase Elliott for my picks for the Xfinity race. Sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit there.
I'm going Sammy Smith and Brandon Jones.
I got Riley and Parker.
Oh my gosh, we all actually did different. So anyway, Xfinity and Cup are racing at Darlington, and those were our picks for Xfinity. Let's see our picks for the Cup race.
Ty Gibbs and Todd Gillen.
I have Blaney and Ty Gibbs.
Okay.
Man, Sid really jumped the gun on the Xfinity. She went for picks out there.
Yeah, no, I am. Honestly, I think I might go with Joey Logano. He's won at Darlington a few times.
He's driving the 15 car, isn't he?
No. This is for Cup.
Oh no, for Xfinity.
Yes, he is running the 15 in Xfinity.
That's what I thought.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of somebody, because I don't want a new winner. But I was gonna say Eric Jones might have the best shot, but I don't want him to win because he'd be a new winner.
Honestly, the Cup has me completely messed up because Harrison won, and like that's the only person I care about.
I mean, this is the last Cup for the regular season.
Yes.
Because I knew Harrison could win, but I didn't think he was gonna win. But I had a feeling he was gonna win, and then he won, and now I generally have no idea who's gonna take the last spots. It could be new people, or it could be people getting on by points.
So all of the Penske and Penske affiliate, well, okay, besides front row, but I'm talking about the 4 cars are all in the playoffs. Wood Brothers and Penske, all 4 of them are in the playoffs. Okay, so I'm gonna go Joey Logano and Brad K. I think that's who I'm gonna go for Cup.
I think Ty. He's had a fast car. It was just unfortunate at Daytona. He just kept getting involved in every single wreck, but he still finished the race somehow. Frick, I don't know my other person. I mean, at this point,
I thought you said Ty and Todd. Did you not?
Yeah. Did I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you already did yours. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I got confused.
But Okay, so all 3 series we follow are going to be racing this weekend. INDYCAR is actually going to the Milwaukee Mile this weekend. So trucks were just there, in ARCA. Now it is going to be INDYCAR.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go, honestly,
I have Scott and Pato.
I was gonna go with Joseph Newgard.
I have Pato and Joseph Newgarden.
I gotta choose my second.
Because I looked down the thing like for the most recent
Winners.
and it was like since 2015 was the last one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so they have not raced a Milwaukee Mile since 2015. I guess I don't think this is gonna go well, but I guess I'll say Colton Herta. I think he's better on road courses, but oh well.
Oh yeah.
So this weekend, Formula One is going to the home of Ferrari, the Temple of Speed, home of the Tifosi, Monza, Italy. It is Ferrari's home race. Technically, also Visa Cash App RB because they're from that area as well. But the Ferrari fans come in troves. If you are a Ferrari fan, this is where you're gonna fit in.
This is where you
It
go.
is quite literally a sea of red. When at this track. So are we gonna go? Are you guys like? Is anybody gonna go with a full Ferrari lineup? In that case,
I went Charles and Lando.
Okay.
I went Oscar and George.
Okay.
We could have just switched mine from last week.
I really did. That's really how that went.
I'll go. It's probably gonna be a McLaren. Cause you gotta think fast cars and slow speed corners. Like in the chicanes. Okay, I guess I'll. Oh no, wait, Molly, you said Oscar, right? George and Oscar.
Yeah, I said Oscar and George.
Okay, Oscar and George. I guess I'll. You know what? I'll go Lewis and Carlos. So we can round out the three teams.
The 3-2. Love that.
So, all right. Actually, before we do, I got a new 164, so we're gonna break out that one. For the
Wait. Okay, I have a question. How did you guys feel about Lee Diffie in the booth? It's mixed emotions.
That call at the very end of the race, that was probably my favorite ever.
Mhm.
Like
He almost got decked in the head by Jeff Burton up in the booth, but on the first day at the job. But you know, I think he would have been like, it's fine. Your kid won.
Can we keep him in the booth? I really liked him in the booth.
The last call that he made when Harrison won,
that's what I'm talking about.
I busted out. I mean, I was already in tears, but I busted in tears after that.
There was only like I didn't notice it, but my dad said that there was only like one thing that he misspoke about, like calling another driver the wrong name. But that's the only thing that like he misspoke about, and not even Jeff. Normally Jeff Burton is the one that calls people out and like corrects them. And Jeff didn't even do that. So
I saw he studied like hard for all this, and he's supposed to be in the booth this weekend.
I personally love him in the booth because I think it's just because of the call that he made at the end, and he he did study very, very hard for the NASCAR talk, but the call at the end really did it for me. I was really, really there.
But, alright. That is it for this episode. This has been the 28th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast. Even though it's not the 21st episode, it is still the Harrison Burton episode. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. However you enjoy our lovely podcast. And let's sign off. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a new car this week. So, it goes peace, love, and race cars. Oh, you guys did Harrison. I should have done that. Dang it. I have one of those too.
What car do you have?
I have the Chase Briscoe, you old goat.
I also have that one. I feel like I felt it was appropriate to bust out Harrison out of his case because,
yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Harrison Burton episode got his first cup win. I bawled like a baby.
No, I used this one because I literally just got it today. But anyway, okay, all right, sign off. It's late. Good night, guys.